Hey guys, welcome back. Boy oh boy, it's still very hot outside. The wind is really high as well, and the bushfires are still raging in many parts of my country. I know up in the ACT they're predicting a very difficult weekend. So once again, I'll put a link in the description below, and if you can spare $1 or $2, the Red Cross Disaster Relief will make good use of it, I'm sure. The base on the bench today has a very simple problem, and it's really got a very simple, or fairly simple, kind of fix. This video is not going to be very technical, let's put it that way, like some of my other content. The problem with the base is simply that the pickups are kind of tilted over in a slightly odd way, and it's caused by a couple of reasons in my experience. Often it's just because the foam underneath has become dislodged or sort of pushed over to one side, and it's pushing up on the bobbin a little more than the other side. Sometimes it's just because the holes were drilled in the wrong spot, or the screws were drilled at a bit of an angle in the first place, and it might have been like that out of the factory. I guess also if you've changed your pick guard and the hole doesn't quite line up with the pickup, that can also cause it. Or if you're using, or if you're working on an old base, perhaps from the 70s, like a Fender, where the pick guard is actually made of celluloid and it has shrunk or buckled or warped or whatever. So, look, if you have a pickup that's tilted on a funny angle, it's not the end of the world, the bass will still play. Although I guess to some extent it does hinder the way you can adjust the height of the pickup, which is kind of critical, really. It's nice to have a good adjustment available on the pickup. And one of the nice things about the P-bass pickup, of course, is that you can adjust both sides of both coils, so you can get a really nice even string-to-string response. Really, the main reason I want to fix this is because it just simply looks a bit funny. It just looks a little bit naff, and I'd rather the bass left my bench looking as good as it can. So let's get this pickup out and we'll see what's going on. Okay, so this coil, hope you can see that. You can see the foam's kind of been pushed over a little bit, so this looks like the original foam and this looks like new foam. I think I'll just strip this foam and put new foam under there. That should be easy to fix. With this guy, unfortunately, I'm not sure if the camera can see it, but these holes are just in the wrong spots. In fact, if I put these screws back in, you might be able to see. Alright, let's see if my dodgy tripod can do this. There we go. I think you can fairly clearly see just how far these screws are kind of tilting over. It's a pretty simple fix, I'll show you. Obviously I have to fill these original holes because I'll be putting new ones in right next to them. So I've got some super glue just in a lid that I can access. I've got some toothpicks, I've got my electronic side cutters, and I've got a little tiny tack hammer. And of course, when you're using glue, I've got a rag handy as well. The first thing I want to do is just blunt one of these toothpicks, and I'll get a good amount of glue on it and get some inside the hole and smear it around inside the hole like that. Nip that off nice and short. So that might still be too short. Let me start with another toothpick. Once again, I'll just shorten it to about there. Just coat that with glue again, and we'll just tap that inside beside. Nip that off close to the bottom. Doesn't have to be flush just yet. And repeat the process. Okay, so now I can just nip those off flush and just sort of nibble the top of that away. Get that mess out of there. And that's done. I just have to do the other side and we'll be good to go. Alright, so I've done the other side. Toothpicks and super glue might seem like a little bit of a cheat, and well, I guess it is. I mean, there's other ways to mend holes in timber. You can drill them oversized and put dowlings and stuff, and I think I've already got a video on that from last year. But really, it's very quick, it's very effective, so give it a go. Anyway, I better move on. I've noticed that the other coil, well, the foam's all sort of tilted over at a funny angle too, so I'm going to replace the foam on both of these. Okay, top tip, hang on to your old mouse pads, rip the cloth off the top. This makes great foam for pickups. So now I just have to re-drill these holes, and the first step with that is to take off one of these covers carefully and then look around your workshop for something to use as a center punch. It might be as simple as a nail. In this case I found a screwdriver, a Phillips head screwdriver that's, well, it's not stuck, but it's pretty tight in there. And then I'm just going to use glue tack under here like that, and I'm going to press this all the way down to the base, right into the route, and then the blue tack allows me to move it around and just get it into the perfect position, and then I just have to tap these center punch holes in. So I've got my drill set up so I know I can't go too far, and I'll just feel around for that punch. There we go, and make sure the drill is nice and square. Just going to open the tops of those holes slightly so I can feel them when I put the screws in. Otherwise they'll just cut their own new hole again in the wrong place and we'll be exactly where we started. Okay, so I can put these pickups back in. So there you go, the pickups are nice and straight. I can adjust them now easily, and also because of that fresh foam that's under there. So I better get on and finish the setup on this old base. Give me a thumbs up, consider subscribing to the channel, I'd really appreciate that, and I'll see you in the next one.